Hello and welcome to Connect. I'm your host, Randy Shabilo. On today's show, we'll have Jim McDonald, the Director of Saskatoon Transit Services, as well as Nini Lee and Yuri Quinn talking about the upcoming Chinese New Year. And as always, we'd like to connect with you.
Tweet us at Shaw TV Saskatoon. Follow us on Facebook. Check out Shaw TV Saskatoon on YouTube to watch past episodes, or email shawtv10@shaw.ca with any future guest or topic suggestions.
Saskatoon Transit Services Director Jim McDonald is here today, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's coming up and what's happened this past year in a good way with the transit services for the riders in Saskatoon. Jim, thank you for making time.
You're very welcome.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came into this role.
Well, I'm born and raised here in Saskatoon, went to Edie High School, then went to the university here, and then I was going down the road to becoming a teacher. And just before I decided to finish everything, I got my first degree down the road and looked at the Army because I was in the reserves and cadets before that. And I thought, you know what, I better do this to find out if I'm okay with that, because I'll always wonder whether it was the right choice or not, or whether, I didn't want to have the regret of not doing that and sort of going, what would it have been like if I had done that? So joined the Army, saw lots of places around the world. I was one of those fortunate ones. I did 3 operational deployments, but I didn't have to fire a weapon in anger. Spent 22 years in the regular force, retired in Edmonton, and that was I wasn't necessarily going down that road, but my children were kind of tired of moving every 2 years. So I knew it was time when my son asked my wife, says, "Can you get a job, Mom? Because I don't want to have to move away from my friends again." So a little bit of a tearjerker, started looking, and then the wonderful people at Edmonton Transit were hiring, and it was a great almost 10 years.
Wow. So a transition of sorts from military life to, I guess, the transit world. Coming to Saskatoon, a homecoming, I guess, of sorts for you. What drew you to transit here?
Well, the job was available, and off and on I'd seen the posting up for the City of Saskatoon's Director of Transit for a number of years, and I wasn't ready to leave the other job at that point. I was still learning a lot, and I still had commitments to my former boss there. He then retired, so it was fair game for me, and so when I saw the opportunity, it was at the right time for me to move. My wife's parents are still here in town, and her 2 sisters or 3 sisters are 2 of her 3 sisters are here. So it was great for us to move back. The only problem is we left our children behind in Edmonton and in Ontario. So we moved back here with a dog and a bird, no kids. And we're in the biggest house we've ever had. So go figure.
Tell us a little bit about what transit has done this past year and up until today, and then we can talk about what's coming up next year.
Sure. This past year is part of one of the things that we've been doing since I got here, which is rebuilding relationships with our people, with our employees, citizens of Saskatoon, our city council, and anybody that wants to get on or off of one of our buses. So there were a lot of things that we've done. We're trying to get our story out, and this is one of those ways to do it. And I thank you again for inviting us, me in particular. But we did a brand new refresh on our logos. Lots of companies sometimes do the whole thing up. We just did a couple of tweaks, added a couple of colors, an improved look and feel, and it just signifies there's a little bit of a change, but not an overwhelming change. We piloted and launched. One of the things that I think we're really happy about is what we call our Class Pass program, which is the free trips for classes with their teachers and a number of chaperones. That's been outstandingly well received, and we're very proud of doing that, and it's one of the things that we're trying to export from here. There's been a lot of interest from places in Alberta, including their transportation department, and we've pushed it out so that any other transit system across the country would be able to use it if they wish. I've had lots of teachers and lots of members of their boards come and just sort of say thank you for doing that initiative. And we didn't have any plan to do this because we got prior wind of the education cuts coming down the road. It's just if you can call it a happy coincidence, it is. Although there's a whole bunch of unhappiness that went with loss of money for classrooms and stuff like that. One of the things that we're doing to try and better communicate with our customers is especially the access, the disabled people that are using our access transit service. We've got a callback. So like you have with your dentist office, remember you've made an appointment and it'll call you today and say, hey, your dentist appointment is tomorrow. Well, that kind of service is coming up. We put that on earlier this year for our access transit services. And what that does is it actually allows us to take a pickup and just put it back into the queue and get somebody that we've told, no, we won't be able to provide you a ride today, we'll get them a ride. So, that's a huge thing that we've finally got the technology to be able to do that. And we're really happy about being able to offer that to our people that are using access
So it's
transit.
an improved efficiency of sorts.
Absolutely,
for the customer.
and we're going to continue to try and do that as much as possible. So it'll call you the night before, it'll call you within 5 minutes. We can rebook the night before trip. The 5-minute one, that's going to be a little bit.
Yeah.
So we're doing more efficiencies on that sort of stuff. Just on Monday, we celebrated our first year in our new building. And that's wonderful. We're where we need to be. The building is fantastic. Not very many teething pains, and for the most part, everybody is loving the new digs. Environmentally, it's a LEED standard building. It's got room for us to grow for up to 225 buses. Probably more if we shoehorn them in there, but it's 225 buses the way the code sets it out. Which is almost 100 buses more than we put out on our service on a regular basis now. So it's going to take us a while to grow into there, but we've got lots of room for staff. I think I say this jokingly, but I think we doubled the number of meeting rooms for city employees in the city because we've got training sessions and we've got other things out there all the time from other organizations within the city, and we gladly offer that room and space for our counterparts that work down at City Hall and other places like that. So we're seeing, all sorts of engagement training and that sort of thing. We are looking at continuing the frequency improvements that we made to things like 8th Street and 22nd Street. So we did that in 16 and 17. In 2018, this year, we're looking at tweaking Idlewild and College Drive. And keep in mind, this is all precursors to the BRT stuff that we're talking about. This year we did the Bus Stop Blues campaign, and we're really thankful to the federal government for bringing some extra money to our availability. So what that was is take a Twitter shot or a Facebook shot, send it to the Saskatoon Transit Twitter page about the bus stop that you think is the worst one in town, and we looked at them and we did a number of things. 14th Ave or 14th Street? 14th Street is one of those ones where, right by the Marquis Towers,
Yep.
it was all dirt and, you had one bench and nothing else. Well, we got the whole thing done with transportation department. We got the whole thing concreted. So it's a nice place to walk now, and you've got a shelter as well as the bench. So 150% improvement in one summer. And that's thanks to some of those PTIF dollars and us looking out for places to improve, talking to our citizens, our customers, finding out what did they see us needing to do. These are small ways that we do things. We want to make sure that our customers are listening to us. We want to make sure we're listening to our customers.
Right. Yep.
Wow, that was bad. But because that's the only way we get better. If our customers tell us that we're doing things wrong, well, we've got to listen to them and figure out what we want to do. So one of my managers is the manager of customer support and engagement, and I've mandated him to go out to at least one of every neighborhood association meeting throughout the year, and he's getting all sorts of good information and good points for us to bring back to the service, and he's trying to incorporate as many of those things as possible when we do our planning for the follow-on service that's going in there and various other things. And I think the Meadow Green changes that we made this summer are part of that listening activity that he's doing. So, kudos to my staff for doing that sort of thing. Then we're doing some advertising messages, and we've got the Transit app, we've got the Google thing. There's a couple of other third-party phone software packages like Move It, and I think 53 or 531 Saskatoon is another one where they show our real-time data online. When I was talking to the guys that run Transit app, they were just puzzled by the market penetration that they're getting here. in Saskatoon. For Saskatoon being, only 260,000, we've got, 8.5, 9 million riders on an average basis per year, but they're getting 5,000 people using that thing a day. So they're completely blown away by our market penetration, and they're saying, how do you do this? How do we get that out to other places? So, for all those people out there that are using the Transit app, well done, because you've knocked their socks off. They didn't think that would be possible. So,
tell us a bit about the BRT, and then there was an event that happened this past September that you wanted to share with us.
So BRT, we've got council plans going forward. We've got some engagement on, at the time of this taping, we've got engagement going on with people in Confederation Plaza. They're talking about the Transit Village concept. BRT is a long-standing thing that we're looking at putting in place. 22nd Street, Idlewild, 8th Street, Broadway, College Drive are all going to be major column trunk systems for transit, and on those roadways you'll see faster transit.
And this, the BRT, I should maybe apologize for getting into the acronyms, but
Bus Rapid Transit.
Right.
And it's basically LRT or a train without
Sure.
train tracks and stuff
Yep.
like that. So we can move it if we have to, but we've had a couple of reports coming back from our consultants that are basically saying where they've outlined we should have it is pretty much, makes the most sense there. More to follow on that, and there's some more consultation and engagement. And if anybody wants to find out what that looks like, they can go to the city engagement page, and all those things will be mentioned there. People that are riding the bus, we should be having posters on our buses a couple of days in advance of each of those engagement sessions. So keep a watch out for that too, and watch what happens in your email baskets and the newspapers, that other media,
Yes,
that's still fun
out
for
there.
some of that sort
Yep.
of stuff.
Tell us about the story to close us out then.
Well, we had a good news story in September, and it was from a gentleman who wanted to just say thank you. So, it's a wife. Her husband accompanied her and her 3 kids from their house in Greystone School on the bus yesterday morning. It was the kids' first time using transit. And there were a few nerves, particularly one anxiety-prone daughter. Well, the driver of the number 82 heading to Greystone, Aaron, was apparently the nicest guy in the world. He made the kids feel welcome. They relaxed like they were being taken care of. He was warm and friendly, and he made it clear that he was willing to help them. Her daughter's first experience was so positive that she felt confident enough to take the bus home on her own and spend a good chunk of the evening program addressing into a Google Transit app so that she could take the bus to her grandparents' house or the library or to the mall. So, this is a great success story. Great freedom, allowing children to take the bus, as you and I found when we were kids in Saskatoon. So and that's one of the things that just warms our heart when we get these kind of positive comments from people using our system.
I think you'll see more of that with you at the helm and the good staff you have, and I want to thank you for sharing all of that with us, and we'll keep an eye out for all of the open houses coming up.
Thank you very much. It was awesome.
Good. Stay with us. We'll be right back.